Hi everyone, so I apologize my video is a little late. I thought it was for next week and then I realized that I had to do it for this week, so I apologize. But I mean, it kind of does make it a little better because I did go to a 2-day training on Thursday and Friday, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Just a reminder, I am at the Family Resource Center doing the clinical side of things, like working with the children that need assessments, and I will be running a parenting group starting next week. Actually, I'm really excited about that. It should be very interesting. But today I wanted to talk about a trauma training that I went to. All employees at the Home for Little Wanderers, which is the organization in which I'm under, they have to complete this, even interns. So it was actually very interesting. The director was very interactive, and we did a case study looking at a girl who experienced trauma and just kind of doing a whole treatment plan over that. It was actually a really good experience. I learned a lot. Well, I mean, I did have a class in the trauma, but it also was a review as well, but I did learn some other things. We talked about the neurobiology side of things, which was really interesting too. So I kind of just looked at how trauma affects different parts of the brain, and with that kind of including the brain stem, so that area focuses on breathing and digestive, and if you do have trauma, then it could the impairment could be shorter breathing, and the cerebellum, which controls the muscle and movement coordination, you could have some reflexes, and then the hippocampus, which is the memory center, the association, it could have association, impaired memory, and nightmares if you've gone through trauma. And the amygdala, which is the emotions and aggressive behaviors, fight or flight and freeze. Some of the impairments could be emotional dysregulations, impaired judgment, and then depression. And then the prefrontal cortex, which is controls executive functions. So this could be lack of insight, poor judgment, poor decision making, and things like that. So that was really interesting. And then we talked about how understanding complex trauma, which is an over time of trauma, instead of just one. So it's the prolonged incidence of trauma. So that was interesting. And then he gave us a whole bunch of different resources around that, and how to detect the impairments and what you'll see. So for example, attachment and interpersonal problems. Impairments could be problem with boundaries, lack of trust, social isolation. Sorry, I'm just reading off of this. Difficulty with others, emotional state, lack of empathy. And then what you'll see with that is difficulty attuning to others, suspiciousness, interpersonal difficulties, poor relationship with others. And then it just goes through the different domains. So behavior, self-concept and identity disturbance, disassociation. So that was really awesome as well. And then we also talked about how to do a treatment complex, treating that. So a treatment plan for complex trauma, how to do the assessments around that. And then he also talked about how the window of tolerance for clients, how their emotions need to be in that therapeutic window, and at any given time it could be upregulated or downregulated, and some strategies to get that person back into that therapeutic window so that you're able to work with that client in that session. And then we also had an OT there who talked about the sensory strategies for working with clients through trauma. So we had calming techniques, she had squishy balls and things like that. Then we had the weighted vest and a visual, things like that. It was really interesting. So overall, yeah, it was a very good experience. It was a really good training. And I just look forward to talking about my my parenting group starting next week, which I will talk about in my next video. All right, thank you. Bye.